Yeah, you feel really good about yourselves, I bet. Yeah, the thing that really bothers me the most is it seems as the worse the situation is in the world today, the more that these medias try to focus on something else and to pretend like everything is as good as it always has been. Yeah, I mean, if the Third World War broke out tomorrow, I bet what people will read stuff like go to these pages to read what Victoria Beckham wore in the bunker yesterday. You know, we have become a really shallow society, and the whole world. I mean, I remember like 20 years ago, or even 15, things like this were really not a big deal. Now we have whole internet sites that only tell you and give you the pictures of celebrities and what they wore and how they looked on the beach or going to the shop or whatever. You and in the 90s and the beginning of this century, this was not so important, and it would never have made a really big internet site. I mean, it would never have made so much interest as it does today. And why is that? I think the reason is that there is simply not that much going on. I mean, we have all run out of ideas, and we don't have any really big personalities who are doing something important. And as it was the case earlier, and even in the 90s, you had these people who were doing really important things for both themselves and the world. And even the worst thing is once these old artists and you know vital people of importance start all die out. Uh, a part of them have already died, but once this great old generation dies out, then we are really fucked. We will not have anyone really, anyone there really worth talking or writing about. And instead, what do we have? We have this new generation of shoppers, of consumers that only their whole existence is about the image and the style instead of substance, instead of great thoughts or great actions, great works, whatever. So we are becoming, we are getting towards becoming, completely unimportant and you know, just a bunch of nobodies. If you look at who the biggest celebrities are today, actually, it's kind of, really depressing to me anyway. People that can that earn so much that they can if slavery had been still illegal, they could have bought you, they could have bought me actually as their own slaves. That's how much they earn, and that's too fucking much. It's really, really terrible. I mean, there isn't anything really original happening either in music or the movie industry. Even in Europe, you have all these now rehashes of older movies, and just or nothing original, no original ideas at all. And it's even worse in the music business. You have now, what do these so-called great artists do today? They just sample the old stuff and use it in their songs, and they collaborate with, like Kanye West especially. He also has collaborated with Paul McCartney, and he has used music from people like Michael Oldfield, for instance, in his own songs. And I remember back in the early 90s, this would have been really, a big fuss, about it, because back then, if you used anything by an older artist or other artists' music, you would get sued. But now, now the situation is such, there is such a lack of creativity in music that it's become accepted, that newer artists take and use the older ones' ideas and melodies and samples. Yeah, really, there is nothing, or I mean, and all these kind of what I think is annoying, that all these kind of popular names to things that shouldn't even have a name, like twerk, for instance, twerking, and all that stuff. It's really gone out of hand, I think, and all this fandom, this cosplay stuff, and comic cons, and it's all. I bet that's really nice for the fans, for people who really burn for that. But I think it has really taken over too much, and it's gone out of hand really, because now all we get is these kind of movies which have been made from a comic book, and it's really taken over in Hollywood. Now all they make almost is just these Marvel and DC movies, and they make the most money, of course, like 90%, I think, or something like that, of the most earning movies. The biggest box office hits are these. you know, comic book movies, and I think we are stirring more and more from reality and towards fantasy, because I think for many people our reality flight is really what they need right now, because how things are in the world today. I can understand it, because back in the 70s and 80s and even the 90s, there weren't that many fantasy movies. Especially I know in the 80s that all the biggest hits were movies about regular people, and their own everyday lives and struggles and all that, like for instance people who work in a lawyer as lawyers or cops or whatever, pilots. Top Gun is was one of the biggest box office hits in the 80s, and while these fantasy movies, not many of them did so well actually at the box office. It was mostly science fiction, but while movies like the 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 Legend or Lady Hawk and Willow, they were kind of, yeah, they did alright, but they were not these really big, huge hits, blockbuster hits. It was more like cult following. Same goes for Blade Runner, I guess. And now, of course, they are returning to that era. Now, I just saw yesterday that they have made a new Blade Runner, a sequel or whatever. I'm not sure. Either a sequel or a remake, I'm not sure. So there's a lot of that, and now there has also started a boom of uh, bringing back old TV shows from the 80s and the 90s, like MacGyver, and we already got Hawaii 5-0, which is actually a 60s show. But anyway, I don't really like this either, because it's like, actually, for to me, it's like disrespecting these old TV shows by trying to make a new version. It's not a good tribute, especially because most of them suck. Really. I For a while I watched Hawaii 5-0, but I stopped because it was so poor, so uninspired. And I have watched the original show, and I can tell you it was better. Yeah, by a mile. So you know, it's just going that way, just copying, rehashing old ideas and not creating anything new. That's not that good, is it? I don't think so.